Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of How Did This Get Booked? I, of course, am your host, Jake Manning. I am a professional wrestling veteran of the sport for well over a decade now, and I've held just about every job in the professional wrestling business except selling popcorn. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, my friend, my tag team partner, my drinking buddy, my bike gang member associate, Zane Riley. Thank you very much for joining us as always, Zane.
Thank you, Jake. How are you?
Very, very good. You sound shittier than normal. And
I'm very shittier than normal.
And you're limping around.
I'm hobbled. I think I have either broken my ankle or just pulled the shit out of my Achilles tendon. So I'm, doing quite bad.
Probably doing better than most of the people that are on the show that we'll be discussing.
Oh man. Still more agile than some of these guys.
But we'll get to that very soon because we still have to introduce our non-wrestling fan who is joining us here today. And we are joined by a very new comedian here to the Charlotte comedy scene, but a very fun and energetic and hardworking individual in Bryan Penn, ladies and gentlemen. Bryan, thank you very much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Jake.
First of all, Bryan, we start like we always do with all of our non-wrestling fans. Mm-hmm. I like to kind of get a feel of what their background is, what their interest in professional wrestling, what's their exposure to it. Now, you said you were a non-fan, but what is your exposure to it? What do you know about professional wrestling?
98% of my professional wrestling knowledge comes from watching the video for this show. The rest, one time when I was 10, we were all like family, we gathered around and wrestling's on, and I'd never see it. It was like WWE, and there's this dude, I forget what he was, he's a bad guy dude, and he's got like worms coming out of his mouth, and I'm like, this isn't real, right? Like this isn't, but I didn't understand that it was just supposed to be fun, and that ruined it for me.
So, it's real. It's damn real.
A decade went by, and then you were like, "Hey, Bryan, want to be on a podcast?" And then I started watching wrestling.
So the Boogeyman was basically
that was it. Yeah,
that's your only reference to professional wrestling whatsoever.
7 seconds of the Boogeyman
and World Wrestling Coalition. We're in for a treat, guys.
Exactly, we are in for a fantastic treat. But speaking of treats, before we dive into this conversation, I should let everybody know that's listening to this podcast, that's regular fans of this podcast, especially if you listen to this podcast in a timely fashion. And if you're in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, we will be doing our first ever live taping of How Did This Get Booked, and it will be taking place at the Queen City Comedy Fest at the Act Out Studio Friday, January 27th. 8 p.m. We will be discussing the show WCW Uncensored 1995. Tickets are available on Eventbrite, and you can log on to queencitycomedy.com for more information about that show. Our guests on that show are actually our first guests, and Alex Anderson and Paige Van Tassel, who did an excellent job discussing WrestleMania 9 and WCW Halloween Havoc 95. So, unfortunately, Paige can't get out of the 1995s. So
yep. She's stuck in an era.
She's stuck in an era right now of wrestling that did so well. So please make sure you show up for that. Like I said, more information about that is queencitycomedy.com, and that'll be taking place Friday, January 27th at 8 p.m. Also, there's then a Facebook event page if you want to follow us on Facebook, Twitter. We'll be tweeting out about it all the time. So, like I said, that'll be our first ever live taping. And if you can't make it, hey, listen, go ahead and start watching WCW Uncensored 95. That'll be the next episode that we'll be discussing. But if you can't be there live, you'll be able to listen to it the week after. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into this wonderful wrestling show, the World Wrestling Coalition. Gentlemen, I see, Zane, I think we need to have a little bit of a sidebar right now for what we just did here, because we've been having some really good shows that we've been discussing recently.
We have, and I was very kind of upset that we had such good shows.
Yes, like we did Beyond the Mat, which is a critically acclaimed movie. Mm-hmm. We did Hardcore Heaven 97, which had its hiccups, but still a solid wrestling show. We were pretty happy with the fact that we watched it. I think we had like a couple other shows that were
everything was pretty decent.
Yeah, no, like I say, the matches were okay. Like even that PCW show we did,
and we had to rely on our good observation skills to kind of get things going, and we had to have in-depth conversations about feminism in wrestling and race, and brought some real serious points out.
Hard hitting.
And I didn't realize how good we had it.
Until
today.
Because I must say, for those of you who haven't seen the show, it is available at High Spots Wrestling Network, highspotswrestlingnetwork.com, that is. And if you want to use the free offer code of HDTGB, you can use that promo code and you get a free month of High Spots Wrestling Network. It's on the front page. And
oh, good.
It's, at least for right now, and I noticed because there's very fantastic analytics through PivotShare, and a lot of people clicked on it because it's a nice screen cap of the Pitbulls. So like, oh, I'm going to check out this indie show from the 2000s. And no lie, you can see the exact moment where everybody logs off.
Which is as soon as this fat fuck's face pops on the screen.
With the list.
Minute 2.
All the fat fucks, really, because
most of them,
there's so many fat fucks here.
Yeah, I hate...
This is going to be the body shame episode.
Yeah, see, I really hate being rough on people, but at the same time, too... People paid money for this show. Like, if this was a free show and these guys were just doing it, like a backyard show, I could probably let this slide, but people paid money for this show. I'm sure these guys consider them as professionals. They probably collected money from some people, so I feel like that's fair game.
Well, that's okay, because most of my notes are body shame based.
Good. That's good.
Most of it.
Okay, well, let's get into particulars of this show. It's the promotion, the World Wrestling Coalition. The show took place on April 28th, the year 2000. Attendance I estimated to be about 60, 80,
yeah.
100 maybe generous.
I'd say 115, yeah.
And they...
That's including the guys that helped set up the ring.
Yes, like it's the WrestleMania 3 thing. I just count everybody who's in the building, even the production people. They were very big on this being family-oriented entertainment. No TNA.
No TNA. No TNA anywhere.
No TNA wrestling.
No, definitely none of that.
No bad language. And of course, we start off after a very rousing intro video with Irresistible Eric Idle.
Can I say... I don't know if I'm jumping the gun or not, but just because the girls aren't hot doesn't mean it's not TNA. There's...
You said it. It's in my notes, but I did not say that. But if you want to say that, yes. That's kind of how I felt that they were representing themselves.
Yeah.
Like, hey, no TNA, but we have these girls that are just kind of there.
But we got these two girls that are flat as a board on both sides.
Yeah, like, since they're not eye candy, but they're being used as eye candy, does that not make them TNA?
They're like fours. So that doesn't
they're
really
definitely
count.
fours.
Yeah, I feel like that... I don't think they knew what they were talking about.
Yeah. The more I think about it, the more I think they meant no TNA, like, total nonstop action.
Yeah,
They meant the wrestling company.
Yeah, because, like, just a girl... I don't know. We're going to get in so much trouble. We made so many strides feminists, and we're just going to bury it all in one episode.
Our huge female listening population...
Massive.
You could take this episode off.
Yeah, but the thing is...
Because we're shitting on everybody.
But that's the thing is, like, these girls just walked out and did nothing, and they were just there as basically tits and ass.
Well, here comes his hot girlfriend. She's looking there, and that's how he talks the whole time. But that's...
Yeah, that's how they were represented. Yeah. But they were progressive, that they had the first female commissioner in Joan Ann Rumsby.
Yes.
So...
with her husband there as well.
But let's back up.
They work for the church, though.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if this is like a rec center from the church.
No, I say later in the game it's the church itself.
Yeah, it's a church.
Because the parish puts on the show.
Oh, okay.
I think that's why they kept saying, there's no TNA here.
There's no TNA here.
So you see these bitches come out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that was so year 2000 wrestling. Like, we have to have girls come out because that's what you do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But, like, heaven forbid we actually get female wrestlers that are athletes and, do something on the show. Mm-hmm. But there was an abundance of those back then in the year 2000 because of old white men.
I.e. this Idol guy.
Yes, let's go back to this Idol guy who said the doctor didn't clear him to wrestle. Did they not clear him because of his type 2 diabetes?
That fupa has ripped singlets.
It had nothing to do with an injury. It's just you're not healthy as a person.
So you're gonna die.
They couldn't clear him because your cholesterol a little high, buddy.
The church insurance won't cover you.
It's like you could apply for a hover round.
And he seems to be like the main like bad guy on the show. Like as far as like what I would assume if he did wrestle and was cleared by whatever Dr. Pepper, whomever, if he was cleared, I assume he would be like the champion heel. So they have him come out and cut the "Hey everybody, let's have a great show" promo.
Yeah, but let's go even back a little bit further when he was brought out and brought basically
the TNA with him.
Yeah, exactly. And the announcer basically he gave the introduction to the first female commissioner and also said that there's no TNA, no cursing, the way wrestling's supposed to be. And then the announcer's next words out of his mouth is, "From every woman's late night desire."
Yup.
The irresistible Eric Idle, and then two girls walk out with him that are just there for show, basically. Yeah, I feel like there's a jump, like a logical mental jump that you're not making right here, and I think it's even more evident in the fact that he's coming out to jump by Van Halen, someone who physically cannot jump. Like,
which gets me, like, why wasn't it simply irresistible?
Yes!
I mean, come on.
Exactly.
What is jump for?
Yeah, I don't understand that either.
Just fucking love Van Halen.
Makes no sense whatsoever.
There came a time when I was like, I can't write down notes every time something dumb action-y happens, because that'll be all my notes.
Yeah, it's like I'll write longer than the show
buddy,
occurs.
I have notes like you
sure
believe.
do.
But the problem is I wrote timestamps, but the notes are so vague that without the show for context, it just says, what does it say? Like, 10 minutes, the fuck is that?
Well, that could be minute 10, minute 30, minute 45.
There's a lot of things.
There's a real big one at minute 147 when the show fucking ends. What's going on here?
I was going to put a timestamp every time one wrestler just seemed to be munching on the nuts of another wrestler in the middle
all kinds of Dixon faces.
A roll. Minute 10:30.
Then we get started with the...
Eric greeting off all the sponsors and doing the rah-rah babyface thing. I'm not sure if it's heel or babyface. They introduce, Joanne Rumsby again as the commissioner, but they also talk about the president, Tom Rumsby, which leads me to wonder,
Papa Rums,
when Joanne, 16 years later, and she runs for president of WWC, are her emails going to be a big issue in the election?
Real big.
And
we already know that he's probably grabbed her pussy.
Probably.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
And also, this comes out the day before we get the new shitbag president. Happy Friday, fellas. Hope you're listening.
Well, we put all those episodes in the can before he got elected.
Yeah.
Talking about living in the new America, so we're covering all bets.
That's right.
But let's move on to match number 1, where they announced the ref to be Gary Glitter of Jock Jim's fame.
Can I ask a question? Why is there a ref in any pro wrestling thing ever?
Well, I could see after watching this show you would ask that question.
Because clearly they're there for looks.
Yes.
Also for TNA.
Yeah, maybe that's what they meant. The referees that are just, not doing anything, not even being the TNA of the show.
Yeah, no, just DNA. That's it.
I've never seen a ref in a wrestling match officiate anything, really. He counts, he pretends like he's gonna count to 3. And then he, oh no, he broke out, but he stopped counting. He wasn't, he knew.
Oh, especially a show like this, and especially in the year 2000s, where it was okay to just hit somebody in the balls directly in front of the referee. That was a very popular thing in the early 2000s.
And on the show.
That was a legitimate cutoff on the indies for a long time. But match number 1 is against Dennis DeGrassi of, I'm assuming, the famous high school in Canada, versus Sid Summers, who I imagine is of the Summers clan, Scott and Alex of the X-Men fame.
Right. Yep.
So, gentlemen, what are our thoughts on this match against Dennis DeGrassi and Sid Summers?
This match was the shits. Okay, first off, they're the 2 most tan guys in all of Canada, because they are from Canada. They talk about it a lot. The match is the shits, whatever, I don't care. The best part of this entire match, hands down, is the then Eric Idle coming up and doing commentary with Aaron Andrews.
Yes.
And they talk about how large these guys are. And then the Aaron Andrews guy says, Eric Idle is also a power guy. and a big man. No, you're fucking fat. Fuck you. That's not how this goes.
I think my biggest fear coming on here was that I've seen so little pro wrestling that I wouldn't know when things were wrong.
Don't worry,
I don't have the context for it, you know, like people who don't like wine. You can't tell like
Did you really think this is what we do?
Yeah.
No, like I knew it wasn't, you know, but like I didn't have any facts. Like it's just
You're like, man, what Jake and Zane does is really not cool.
Yeah, it's just don't let the lack of TNA around here fool you.
But I love some of the commentary notes in this. The commentator said that one guy was a really technological wrestler.
Oh, I got that right here. Minute 11. Technological wrestler.
I like that, but we know at minute 10 it was what the fuck was that? And then a minute later you're like, even more what the fuck? You can't even speak right.
Yeah, but like it should be like technical wrestler.
He's a very technological wrestler.
Technologically. At what point he compares this match to San Martino and Zbyszko.
Oh, and he makes a Dr. Dave Schultz reference when he slaps the ears in a bear hug, which I didn't realize that was a signature Dr. D thing. Like,
I mean, I know smacking a motherfucker in the ear is, but not necessarily in a bear hug.
Okay, now I get. Yeah, now I finally get his joke. So
open head slap. I got you, bud.
That was actually a clever joke.
Yeah, the one thing that this big fuck does. Brings out in this show that's proper.
Well, speaking of things that are not proper, though, two really dangerous backdrops in this match. Like, some really...
See, that's something I would never have noticed. You know,
not safe whatsoever. Like, scary.
When he hooks that dude in that top wrist lock and then fucking arm drags him in that same, like this, and then arm drags him over his body, I almost died. I almost cried. I almost shit myself. Thought that guy was dead. Fuck that guy. I would never do that.
Ugh. Yeah, pretty rough, but hot start for this show.
Yeah, I mean, the best wrestlers in Canada that these guys can afford, traveling all over the North Continent.
So, Canada?
What the fuck is going on?
Another thing I'll say,
Canada's not a continent, dickweed.
I missed the end
of this
match, like, entirely. I was watching. Like, I wasn't, like, on my phone or doing anything. But then,
good, because I was.
Yeah.
But then it was just over. I was like, wait, when? I had to back up to see when it was. It just like ended.
Oh yeah, because like I don't even think he really counted 3. I think the guy just was like, okay, fucking, it's over.
Yeah, that's kind of. I'm glad he did it.
Yeah, no shit. That guy's the real MVP of this show.
Agreed. But gentlemen, we've come down to the part of the show which is probably my favorite, and I think it's going to be the funnest of the discussion, is where Andrew Aaron is tracking down in the bathroom, which he labels a small room.
Is it bring your Hodor to work day? It's been the biggest fucking retard you can find and just throw him with a microphone? Now also, this might be someone that knows. I almost messaged the guy that I think this is a dude that's still around today. Andrew Aaron's guy or whatever, believe he is Matt Classic of the AIWF around like Mount Airy area.
Okay.
I believe he's still like he does all those. AIWF is a company that kind of tries to do the NWA thing.
Yeah, I'm aware of
it. I think he's in the office to that. And I believe this is him. I went on a trip with him once, and I believe this is the guy. And it would
you were locked in a car with this man, and you can't tell for sure if this is him in a small room.
I spent 3 days with this guy. Well, it's been 16 years. Well, it's been 15 years at the time. Though, loudest snore I've ever met. Worse than Freight Train. He snorts so loud that I had headphones on, and he snored louder than my maximum volume headphones. Ooh. I slept in the bathtub of the hotel room that night, and I could still hear that fucker. But I think this is him. I'm going to find out. I'll do some research. If anybody knows if this is the Matt Classic of the AIWF.
Okay.
Because Matt Classic, not his real name.
Yes.
And like most wrestlers, I don't know his real name.
And don't want to.
I don't care to.
I think I remember this scene you guys are talking about in the bathroom.
How could you not?
Oh my god, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen before.
For minute 17:45, I just have.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's it.
You saw it.
That's it. You were there.
But yeah, Wayne Woo comes out holding 3 fingers up, saying "read between the lines"
with a water bottle, and he's got the toilet paper and wiping his ass, but over the pants.
Yes.
Good call. Good call, Wayne Woo.
Yeah, and then throws something out the window and tells him, "Get out of here!"
Yeah, somebody knocking on the window.
In the middle
He
of
calls him a retard. He calls him a retard.
No TNA, but
No TNA, but a whole lot of derogatory remarks.
Yeah, no TNA, but we could be as politically as correct as possible.
if a person's a retard, you got.
But I think the thing that really makes this promo, like I almost feel like I need to post this on my YouTube page because this is the most fucking bonkers fucking scene I've ever seen on an indie wrestling tape before. Like, here they are having this ridiculous promo with this guy who's just, I think, mentally insane.
Yeah.
And there's two grown men talking in a fucking bathroom, and a child walks in.
And he just goes,
a
"Come here."
child.
One of your fans
He's
right
like, "Come here."
I don't want to think that kid's like, Dad, God damn it.
And what makes it even weirder is Wayne Woo starts flexing in front of him.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote. Ugh.
And this is happening at a church. Oh, man. And probably it's Catholic. Well, that boy's sucking some wieners.
I feel like this was discussed in the movie Spotlight. I think this is the prequel to that.
Yep, this is.
Like, I feel like this is exactly, but like, yeah. Creepiest, most bonker, batshit thing I've ever seen. Like, the fact that they would, like, film that promo, like, yeah, that was a keeper.
Yeah.
Like,
someone made a decision.
Yeah,
keep that. It blows my mind if this took more than one take. It blows my mind if someone wrote anything down on any piece of paper resembling a script or, like, trail of an idea.
Yeah. But they're just like, let's just go to camera, what happens? Oh, and I can imagine them filming this afterwards, like, man, it was great. And then a kid just walked in, and he looked so lost, and Wade, like, flexed towards him with his shirt off. Like, say that back and help me.
See how I flex on that kid? I flex on that kid.
Yeah, tell me that doesn't sound crazy, and maybe we should not put that out in the air.
Well, he's crazy Wayne Woo.
The Wacky Wayne Woo guy.
Wacky Wayne Woo.
I have a fan of alliteration, so.
Who is in match number 2 against The Plague.
Okay, so this would have been the greatest moment of my life if when he took off his trench coat, there was just another trench coat.
Oh, man. Like layers.
But he had some sort of like bondage thing on top of a black t-shirt underneath that trench coat, which he never took his hood off. And I'm not talking like wrestler term for hood as in like Lucha Libre mask.
No,
I'm not talking about like his actual hood on his sweatshirt. He never took that down.
He looks like he left his shift at Hot Topic to run and do this match. And then when he got done, he had to run back to work.
Yeah, he looks like if Gabe Sapolsky was a wrestler.
He's not listening.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask him, like, did you wrestle as the Plague at any point in time? Like, I'm definitely going to ask
doing
him.
About 17 years ago.
I mean, since you're talking about promoters being on this show.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll do it. We'll get them all. Let them all.
I'm not that opposed to it.
Wacky Wayne Woo looking like Paul Lee.
Maybe
it was him.
So
this kind of infuriates me though. Wacky Wayne, in comparison to the rest of this show, was a fucking fantastic wrestler.
Yes, he was.
He was great. That match was so good.
He may have got put on a watch list for that promo, but gosh darn it, he's good in the ring.
He knows what he's doing, especially with The Plague.
Yes. Who is not?
Who is not good at all? He carried this little kid.
He's not a technological wrestler.
He's not technological at all. They don't have that technology where he's from.
Which is Blackpool, England.
Which, of course. Which is why they use the hood, because it's always raining.
Also, too, I don't know if you guys noticed that they overdubbed the commentary.
I didn't. The guy.
I know. Okay, yeah, I know. Like the tape kind of. Yeah.
No, and it's just throughout. So I'm thinking what happened was, Mr. fucking irresistible Eric Idle was probably saying some stuff that was of foul language.
Yeah.
And was probably pretty unsavory and sexually charged. And they probably had to overdub it.
Get him out of here.
Yeah.
There's a moment when he says, for his description, his analogy, that Wayne Woo, he's at minute 20:40, a French fry short of a Happy Meal. You can catch that?
Yeah, I caught it.
You got that? All right.
Great.
You think he said something not appropriate and they had to replace it?
This guy's a cutting linguist, this guy.
French fry short. That's still a Happy Meal.
This guy's fucking retarded. French fries, what is that?
That's right. Short of a Happy Meal.
But then at some point, like they just talk about how Eric's already left the commentating says he has to go to the back and talk to a child. And also,
yeah, like the same child that's crying in the bathroom right now from Wayne Woo flexing with his shirt off.
Yeah, go talk to one of the boys. Like literally a boy.
Literally a boy. Also, the referee was called Disco Dave.
Disco Dave, the referee.
Okay, but then it was revealed that he was Disco Fred.
Dave and Fred, they're twins. They're two different.
And
the Disco brothers.
There was some interaction after the match where he was like, "You don't want me to get your brother out here?"
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know what that's about, but he said it as if we were supposed to know. I didn't know.
I guess you had to be there. Yeah. 2016 or 2000 was a weird year, man.
Yeah,
right, in Pennsylvania. It was real weird.
We're still coming off of Y2K, so all kinds
I missed
of
the
weird
end of this one again. Yeah.
I think Wayne hit
crossbody, wasn't it? Just a big crossbody.
It was a springboard.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, springboard crossbody. It's very good. It's like it's crazy. Shit's nuts.
I tell you, child molesters make the best
Man,
wrestlers.
They really know how to talk to their audience.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times.
And you've said it 1,000 times. Pedos make money. Asses in seats.
Match number 3, the Mauler versus Fate.
Can't remember what Fate looked like.
This is when I noticed
the skinny white boy.
Yes, with grape Hardy Boy pants.
Okay. Oh yeah, he was the pants.
Mauler was the mask guy who may or may not have been the plague.
That's exactly what I thought. I figured that's why he was wearing so much clothes that he had to run to the back and then take off his shit and then he had put on his hood and then he was the Mauler. Like, oh, that's why he wore his fucking hoodie.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking as well, and I wouldn't put it past you as well. But there's also comments about basically I think the Mauler's body type, and they butchered a John Kruk line, where I believe the line is, "I'm not an athlete, I'm a baseball player."
Yeah.
But then when it came out, he goes, "I'm not just the old line of John Kruk. I'm not a baseball player. Wait, I'm not an athlete, but I'm a baseball player."
Yeah.
I believe was the line that they got out.
And it was a good one.
It's one of those lines that he practiced in the mirror all morning long,
right.
and he fucked it up as soon as he got off mic.
He nailed it every fucking time.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Eric Idle said he had to walk away and talk to somebody about a website in Young Wrestler. It was during this match.
Okay, this is where it comes out.
This is when they reference. Not a whole lot to this match with Mauler and Fate. Anything else we got to say about it?
This is when I noticed they're in a church. Because as he was given a crucifix, there was a crucifix in the background. I'm like, that was either genius editing.
It's very apropos.
And I know it wasn't.
Yeah.
Genius. Shocker.
This guy's doing some fucking Kurosawa lighting kind of camera angle bullshit for this match.
Quentin Tarantino storytelling right here.
This thing on fucking millimeters. Walk around before the match, bam, bam, crucifix.
It's like, oh, he's in a crucifix. It's like, is that a crucifix? Oh, whoa!
Oh my god!
One moment of gold.
Who's putting this together? Spielberg?
Yeah. Some really deep allegories here.
Did Martin Scorsese direct this show or something?
Every frame
you
of
can watch it on a loop like Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
The first scene is the same as the last scene. Anything more to say about match number 3?
Nope, it happened.
Yep, I agree.
There's a whole mess of it happens here.
Yep, pretty much.
41 minutes, 16 seconds, what the fuck is all.
Okay.
Good, yeah, nailed it.
Nailed it.
Go check that out if you want to find out what that means, because I don't remember.
Match number 4, tag team match with Little Ricky and Corrupted Youth versus Matt Grunge and Black. You can actually hear a fan after they make that announcement, like, Black? Like, isn't there supposed to be something else, the rest of his name, like Black Scorpion?
That guy's very progressive, just black.
Black?
I don't see color.
I don't see color. Little Ricky probably needs to take his shirt off.
Probably. Corrupted Youth, also.
And also, too, Black might be the Mauler. Don't know for sure.
Yeah, just switching hoods, brother.
There may be just 6 people on this show.
Yeah, it's just
a loop.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the plague every time.
That's exhausting.
Man, the plague is like...
Endurance.
He probably like... what is his story? Oh, man. What's the plague story? If he is all these masked characters. Why is he all these masked characters?
Well, I think this is... Are we trying to come up with a big overlaying story? Or,
Like,
or we're talking about like a real story? Because I feel like... Because this is like I think this is a training school show.
Okay. Because we do talk about... Thunder's school the entire time.
Yes, and the banner's up for that. So
Yeah.
I think this is his students. I think that guy's his right-hand man.
And maybe this is his graduation. Or like, you get to be in all these matches now. You do yourself, whatever character you want to do, and now you got to do all these mask gimmicks. And this is his graduation.
It could be his graduation, but I also think maybe he's his right-hand man.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Tommy Thunder was trained by Manny Fernandez, and he did a pretty decent job, but it's like multiplicity. You make a copy of a copy, and it doesn't come off quite as well.
And eventually she touches your peppy, Steve.
Exactly. And this guy is Tommy Thunder's right-hand man, but he's not very technical, but he works very hard. He sets up the ring.
Sure
and
does.
it's
by
like,
himself, I'm sure.
and like somebody's late, and they're just like, screw it, let's just put Old Plague in on all these, and they just keep putting him in, and he keeps raising his hand. Somebody else didn't show, and he keeps raising his hand and going in.
He's an overachiever.
Overachiever, kind of a masochist,
Teacher's pet.
a little bit of a martyr.
He probably did, a couple years ago, he probably did a podcast scenario where he just talked about bad wrestling.
Yeah,
It's
something like that.
his art imitating life right now.
Yeah, very meta right now.
So meta.
A couple things I was kind of impressed with this tag match. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but one of the guys went up for a drop kick, and like mid drop kick, one of the guys kicked the other guy in the stomach. And the only way that physically could happen is if the drop kick was so low that you could get your foot up to kick somebody.
Yes.
But also, too, like, the timing on that is pretty fucking ridiculous. But, like, not like timing as in good, but timing as in mistimed.
Yeah.
Like, I went to go kick him, and I was so slow in pulling that trigger that this guy was able to get up off his feet and try and drop kick me, but I was able to sidestep enough to kick him in midair.
I think the guy just didn't want to take the fucking drop kick.
There's one.
I'm not bumping. Get down.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was it, but there was one 51-25 where he just slaps him in the titty. Just a titty slap.
Tit slap. Oh, tit slap. That's an offensive maneuver.
Offensive maneuver.
And
really
offensive.
And,
It's funny. I like it.
kind of need to work on their, double team finisher was a little rough because they have the X Factor and there's a lot of moving around.
Yeah.
And
What was his X Factor? What?
there was something,
Did Corrupted Youth hit like a splash?
like a frog splash or something. I mean, it's year 2000. It's probably
Probably
a
frog splash. Or a senton bomb.
something like that.
Then Corrupted Youth takes off his shirt post-match. And even dumbass Hodor on commentary brings it up. Like, why is bringing it up now? Like, taking it off now. And he's kind of jacked. He's the best looking guy on the show except for the Pitbulls.
I'm kidding.
Fucking Reckless Youth / Sandman guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Reckless Youth is still like a big thing at this time. So for him to be Corrupted Youth is kind of interesting. I'm sure Tom Carter had a conversation with him one more time.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But let's have a conversation about match number 5 between Mark Handsome, Noe, versus, I believe, Vinny Vicious?
Delicious.
Vicious.
I believe they announced him Delicious, but they were chanting VV, VV, unless they were chanting VD, VD.
And then we go back to not being a family show.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it was Vicious, because I remember them saying that on commentary, but I'm super confused.
I remember the announcer not being able to say vicious. Kept saying vicious.
Yeah,
Vinny Vicious.
Yeah.
All the time.
There's that issue. But one thing that isn't confusing is who Mark Handsome is a fan of.
Yeah.
That's definitely Chris Jericho.
You think?
Including with his own version of Ralphus.
Yeah.
So, Brian, are you aware of Chris Jericho as a wrestler, or you just know him as a reality
I can't understand how unaware I am of him as anything.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Just nothing.
Okay. So
Musician, reality star,
yeah.
podcast doer.
I learned his name just 10 seconds ago?
There we go.
Fresh as the driven snow.
Such a virgin. Wide-eyed.
So we're like
versatility.
5 matches into this show.
Yeah.
What is your thought right now? What do you have in your notes that happens in your mind?
What the fuck?
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Okay. But
What's your thoughts on wrestling?
Jeez. You picked the sparsest section of my notes. My thoughts on wrestling. At this point,
As a whole,
with
this being your petri dish of...
I'm like, you know what? These fans are having a hell of a time. I can't,
I can't shit on this too much.
They're having such a good time. I'm not going to be that guy. This is stupid. It's like they're having fun,
But are you entertained? Like, what is it? Like, if you went to this show, you paid $10 to see this. What's your thoughts?
Okay, again, I don't know good wrestling from bad wrestling, right?
Okay. So you're thinking this is the greatest thing ever.
If everyone around me is like, yeah, I'm gonna be like, yeah. Just through osmosis. It's just how it works. You know? So
I'm not gonna be not cheering.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, that was horrible suplex. I don't even know what a suplex is, so I can't have that critique. You know? Like,
why are you assholes cheering? Can't you tell this is terrible? This shit's fake, right?
But I just got to get that sense because I think you're going to find out here in a few seconds how dangerous professional wrestling is.
What the fuck?
This moonsault.
Like, that's all we can talk about this match, right? Like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Right there.
There is a moment in this match where Mark Hansen is going for a moonsault down on the ground and he's trying to direct traffic with his Ralphus.
Do you think Ralphus went into business for himself? Like, in this part? Because he seems pretty angered at this moment and is, like, purposefully moving this guy around, away from Handsome. And, like, he does something else that was real blatant in front of, like, the referee or something. Like legit punched him.
Are you saying...
I think this motherfucker...
Are you saying there's a conspiracy?
There's something to be looked into in 2000. Because fake Ralphus is purpose... I think he's trying to get Mark Hansen done in. We all know that today's Ralphus...
What's his end game?
Well, we know today's Ralphus thinks he's a hot shit. He thinks he was a big deal.
Okay.
He thinks that shit was real.
Him and Mama Bagwell both think that they were the biggest thing in WCW.
Well, maybe he thinks he's like one of the biggest things. Like, comparatively, like, I guess, like, he's the hot shit in 2000. He's the hot shit at WWC. Maybe he's not getting the money he wants. Maybe Mark shit on him before they went out. Like, you're fat as fuck kind of deal. And he's like, oh, I'll show you, motherfucker. Maybe he fucked his mom's. Maybe Ralphus' mom's is hot. I don't know, man. Something's here. There is something to be discovered.
Say there was a malicious intent.
This. He put a hit out on that man. Somebody put a hit out. He almost died.
I guess he did. But I feel like it was more of his own volition and stupidity. But for you to say that there's far more things going on,
when I go put him there and you go
wander off in an opposite direction.
You're about to do a lap around the damn thing before you get him anywhere close to where he's gonna go.
I just don't think,
you don't think he's smart enough to be that malicious?
Well, the thing is, like, yeah, I think fake Ralphus, you would have to understand where to know where to put him. You would have to understand what happens with your body's trajectory when you jump off and flip backwards. Now, I don't think that's in fake Ralphus's wheel set. I don't think that's in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, not his skill set or nothing.
Yeah, his wheel set.
His skill house.
His skill house. All of those things. I don't think he thinks what's going to happen or where he's going to go or how. Like, yeah, he's probably searching around because he doesn't know where he needs to be. Because Ralphus never thought, like, hey, what happens when I do a flip backwards off the top rope?
If I was going to flip off that rope, where would I land?
And that's the thing. Ralphus probably put him exactly where he thought, which would be like a 90-degree angle from where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. If he's doing flips out of his peripheral, he'll hit it.
Exactly. So okay. I don't think...
So if anybody knows this WWC Ralphus, maybe let us know what he's into today. Professional hitman or just regular old simpleton.
Thing is, I probably saw that, was like, oh, that was a pretty good move.
That thing was insane. That's definitely the highlight of the show.
Oh, yeah.
Because there was nothing in the show where I was like, that was probably dangerous. Like...
Except this.
This right here brought you back in. This was believable. Boogeyman, just eating worms.
Yeah.
And then this.
Well, and then eventually he gets let go. Eventually Ralphus kind of gets him in the area and lets him go. That guy didn't really go out of his way to try to catch this motherfucker.
Oh, I definitely if you were to tell me that this Vinny guy
was in on it,
I think he had something malicious.
Okay.
Because I could see, Mark being very I'm going to do this. And he's like, man, why do I got to do his shit for?
Yeah.
Fuck him.
And then maybe he was real pissed at Ralphus. And come the fuck on, you're making me look stupid. You can't keep doing this the whole time. This is why I told Mark not to let you come out with him.
Oh, man. Maybe this is a double conspiracy. Maybe this is JFK assassination.
There's a second person?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not only was Lee Harvey Oswald a shooter, but there was another shooter independent to even what he had going on.
Oh, wow. two conspiracies going on and just happen to cross with no like contention whatsoever.
Exactly.
We need a time machine. We gotta go back.
That's a far more sexier thought than this entire show.
We've got to learn, guys. If you know anything about Mark Handsome or Vinny Delicious/Vicious, please, viciously delicious.
Viciously delicious.
Like now, I understand why that guy can't say the fucking name. It gets real hard there. It's unclear. Delicious.
I think it's. I'm about 100% it's vicious because I want to say I heard him chanting VV, but I really wanted it to be delicious, so the crowd can be chanting VD in a church.
VD, gonorrhea.
Yeah. Let's go, chlamydia.
But moving on to match number 6, Xavier versus Big Dave Duncan. Of course, Xavier has a valet with him in Summer. Mm-hmm. That's, I think Xavier is wearing Black's mask, am I right?
Is he?
Yes.
Which one was the one with Ivan and Tony? Did we get there yet? Or?
No, that's next.
Oh, okay, my bad. That was the one with slap him in the titty, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is where I wrote, just because she's not hot doesn't mean it's not TNA. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
You said it, I didn't, sir. I'm here every week, he's not.
Yep. We'll be giving out his Twitter handle later in the show.
At Bryan Penn? At Bryan Penn.
Well, we already said the whole name. Might as well.
At Bryan Penn.
Penn, Bryan. You're looking at the Dewey Decimal
Bryan
System.
_Penn.
Social Security.
At Bryan 1. At Bryan Comedy. All those. Just send your complaints there.
Would I really get hate for that? Like,
I don't know.
They didn't see the show.
No one listens to this.
Nobody.
Brother, if we can sell out this comedy show coming up,
They logged off of this at minute 2, just like they did for the show.
Don't you talk about Summer!
When they realized there was no TNA, they were like, "Oh fuck it, I'm out."
This podcast doesn't have any TNA.
Yeah, there's definitely no TNA in this podcast either. There's just a whole bunch of wangs.
A lot of wangs.
Something I want to make notice of in this match is the commentator after Xavier hit, which looked kind of like a stunner. The commentator said that, "Oh, that's a move that Tommy Rogers uses," and it was actually invented by the Warrior. You know, those are not the names that I think of when I think of stunner.
Yeah,
but
if that's what you're gonna go with, I mean, if that's what you're. Do you notice, like, at some point, I don't know if it's necessarily like right here, but here soon, maybe it's already happened. This commentator becomes a real elitist dick.
Yep.
And like shitting on everything. Like,
oh yeah,
fuck you, bud. Put the product over. Shitting on this is our job.
That's for the guys that are going to do this like 17 years later in a room that's like somewhat soundproof.
Yeah.
Like, that's their job is to shit on the show.
Leave a little something for the rest of us, Aaron.
Aaron. Aaron.
You and Double V can just go right off into the sunset together.
You double fuck yourself in that corner with you and Wacky Wayne Woo.
Flex on little kids.
Yeah. Matt Classic, I said it.
Enabler.
Yeah. Doesn't that shit happen?
Or matchmaker, whatever
you are.
Oh, we ready to move on to match number 7, gentlemen?
Yeah, I guess. And Big Dave's just big, you know.
Yeah.
His weight gets larger and larger every time the guy says it. Like, he's like 450. He's up about 475. This 500-pound man. Jesus Christ. Is he eating cake during this match?
Okay. He got slapped in the titty. This is the one where he...
This is the titty slap.
Well, there's a whole lot... That makes a lot more sense as an offensive maneuver against Big Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, when you said earlier that it made a lot of sense, but, you know, someone of his size, if you're going to slap his titty...
It would do something.
That would definitely throw off his equilibrium. It might swing up and pop him in the chin.
It's like a double hit.
Yeah.
51-25.
Well, listen, I've got bruises on my arms and welts on my arm from hitting another man. You know what I'm saying? So I can only imagine what you could do when you slap somebody's like boob like that.
Yeah. So. A momentum-filled boob.
Yeah, lethal boob smash.
That's the real T in this TNA.
Exactly. Match number 7, Ivan versus Tony Emerald.
I don't think I remember this one at all.
I do, because it had a great intro. But then, like, the announcer started flapping his mouth flaps, and it was just ruined all of it. Yeah.
See, I'm almost thinking that Ivan could be Black, or the Plague, or all of them.
It is all of them.
And same could be said for Tony Emerald. Tony Emerald might be the Mauler.
Okay, well, they were both in hoods? Is it?
Yeah.
Could you describe, do you remember, anybody remember what they look like?
Rough, pretending to be Russian.
Okay. All right. I'm back in. Ivan
didn't give you that?
I was thinking they were both under hoods.
No.
But just I remember Ivan yelling and be like, "That's
this
not
is the
Russian."
time when they're not under hoods.
Yeah.
And I think all the other times they're under hoods.
Yeah.
Lucha mask or regular hoodies.
Sweatshirt hoods.
Yes, exactly. But I'm pretty sure the show consists of 5 people.
Yeah, of
these
course,
are the guys
of course.
wrestling all those.
Well, they spent so much money on the pit bulls, they couldn't really get anybody else. Couldn't afford to pay anybody but students.
I thought this was like, I didn't see the show before. I thought we were gonna like be watching during, because these notes at 1 hour 5 minutes 12 seconds, I just have in all caps, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, that's about right. What the fuck episode? Body shaming and fuck saying.
I really wish I knew what that was alluding to.
Fuck wondering.
Something got my attention.
It might have been Tony Emerald's promo afterwards. And
that was it! That's what it was! They were in the woods! Just like, okay, he's a master of stealth.
No, you're thinking of our next one.
Yeah,
okay.
Tony Emerald's got the really
the...
curly chest hair.
All right.
You're thinking
that's what that was.
Of the next promo, which is with Andrew Aaron, who's looking for Major Glory, who also may or may not be a rapist. The way he sneaks up on people.
What do you mean, or may not?
Yeah.
I'm here out in this shadowy woods for my big ass, and he's a master of, and then he comes out and he stutters on his threat or something, like he forgot his lines. And it's just like, I'm gonna mess you up, man. It's like, just...
You don't come out in my woods.
Yeah, you don't
this
come
is
out.
a little side yard. You can see the building behind you. There's cars over there. These are in the woods.
You can see the marquee of the building.
Yeah. There's a cross over there. Is it a graveyard?
It's my rape lot.
You get on my rape gully.
Just the company that Andrew Aaron hangs out with.
Yeah, like...
I'm really worried about these people he hangs out with. I think Andrew is like a good kid.
He means well.
He loves his mother.
Yeah.
Drives his grandmother to her doctor's appointments on Saturday. Shovels the walk. But these people he hangs out with, they have to knock on doors for the rest of their lives. So
my rape lot.
Just telling people what they've done in their past and why they're gonna be their neighbor.
You said his name was Major Glory?
Yeah.
So I don't know how many 20-something-year-old listeners you have. But if you were, Major Glory was like a cartoon character in like a Dexter's Lab spinoff, and that's all I could think of was just this. It was like this knockoff Justice League. It was the Justice Friends with Major Glory. And
that's awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah.
When I hear Major Glory, I'd assumed he would have been the good guy.
I thought he was. I don't know.
I believe that Jason
what
Ray
is good and bad, it's all subjective.
I mean, he came out with the poor man's version of Daphne.
Mm-hmm.
As a valet, J.C. Rage, I assume, was a bad guy, but
I thought he was the baby.
I don't know. I was very confused. It's they did a lot of moves.
Whole mess of things.
I assume that people, because he's serves our country, I assume that we salute him.
Well, he's hanging out in the woods raping people. Maybe he was discharged for, cruel and unusual, or
sitting there.
Yep. I mean, we know he's stealth. He's got that.
Listen, even though Chris Kyle lied about the whole Jesse the Body Ventura thing, doesn't make him not an American hero, my friend. That's all I'm saying. We still gotta salute Major Glory in his service, okay?
So. You're right.
Right?
Wow.
We can't forget our good fighting troops and our men and women over there that are dying and
fighting.
fighting.
We can get Jesse Ventura on this show.
I would love to.
If anybody listens that has a cut.
If anything, he's going to clear up that conspiracy we have from Mark Handsome.
I don't buy it. Man, Scout Zane, let me tell you something about Vinny Delicious.
Match number 5, hardcore match. Major Glory, JC Rage.
Whatever.
That was the hardcore match?
Yep.
There's a moment when the announcer is going, it's a hardcore match. They expect chairs, they expect tables, they expect poster board. He said
poster boards.
It's what you use for presentations in middle school.
Have you ever gotten a poster board paper cut? Watch your shit. That's hardcore.
Malicious paper cutting.
Sawing somebody in half with the "Let's Go Vicious" sign.
They expect paper.
I love that Glory is wrestling in wrestling shoes.
Yeah.
Just combat boots.
Yeah, of all the people that probably wore, like the Plague, who probably wore combat boots on this show.
There was a lot of guys that wore just regular walking around boots as opposed to wrestling boots.
Mm-hmm.
And
this guy could have been the one that could have done it proper.
Yeah, and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But no, you wear wrestling shoes.
So this is the one where he ends it with like throwing him through a table, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Trying with no avail.
Yeah.
There was a moment when he just set it up, and the guy who didn't set it up walks by. I'm like, what if he just took down the table?
Yeah, and put that back down.
It just deflated his whole... I mean, what are you going to do? You can't...
Basically have your own tug of war moment where then he sets it back up and then he takes it back down.
It'd been awesome, yeah.
Just slides it right back under the ring.
It's just like, I know what you're going to do with this.
No. This is
Fold
dumb.
it back up.
No. Dumps out thumbtacks, gets a broom.
No. Well, but we did have Crystal, our poor man's version of Daphne, get involved.
Yeah.
Crystal.
Which, of course, no TNA, no cursing,
Just
but
'cause
violence
she's
on
not
women,
hot.
no problem.
For it. Pile drive that bitch.
It's in the Bible, don't
It's
worry.
in the Bible,
It's okay.
Guess you should call it a rule of wrist. I
As
don't
long
know.
as the stick's not bigger than your torso.
Yep.
If Joanne the Commissioner is okay with it,
Yep.
so be it. I mean, she's the first ever female commissioner in wrestling history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're just trying to be progressive here.
That's right.
So,
Joanne's all like, old enough to talk back, old enough to get fucked up.
why is that not your motto for life?
It is. It's now. I'm taking up a new mantra.
Anything more we're gonna say about this hardcore match before we get to the main event?
No, it's surprisingly unhardcore until the very finish.
Yeah, I mean it's only like, but that's the thing. Like all these other matches got all types of different things going on. But it's like, now it's okay that you understand that we're not going to ring the bell. Now you're not going to be like aimlessly wondering why we're not ringing the bell when somebody uses a chair or hitting a low blow. At least now, like, oh, well, this makes sense why you'd use a table and they would low blow each
Because
other.
it's a hardcore match.
It's a hardcore match.
But then they switch back to a not hardcore match, but nothing changes.
Yeah.
And
They just beat the show.
that's the only time they get confused again. Then they're just back to the whole theme of the show.
like,
Wait a minute, is this a hardcore match?
Why is this any different from the rest of the show?
It's like, I
And it's any
understand.
different from anything.
It's like the ref's not doing anything. Oh yeah, no shit.
Of course, if also, by the way, if that guy rock bottomed me through a table and I didn't go the first time, fuck be damned if I get back up and let him do it again. Like, no, motherfucker, you had one chance. You pinned me now.
Also,
You that guy's probably broken. Like it's poop myself.
this whole match, I realized none of it works unless after any hit the guy is stunned for 30 seconds afterward.
Yeah.
Like, he gets smacked in the face and he's wobbling, he's weebling, and then that lets him do his next move. But I'm trying not to bring real physics back into.
No, bring him in.
Bring him in.
We need the scientific.
I feel like if you get hit so hard that you're knocked out for like 30 seconds on the floor, that's it for you. You don't get back up, especially if it happens 20 times in the same fight. Like you're concussed and dead. But here, in order for all these moves to work, you got to get hit. And then you're, I don't know, inebriated temporarily until he gets to do the next combo or
something.
Again, I was like, they're having fun.
You're reaching for logic here, my friends.
They're having a good time. It's like making fun of Sharknado. What are you doing?
What, are you trying to say that's not possible? They pretty much described how it works scientifically. I don't believe it.
Well,
here we are.
We're now time for the main event, match number 9. Manny Fernandez, Tommy Thunder versus the Pitbulls. Which, if you've sat through this entire show now, Brian,
yes,
you've kind of like, okay, this is kind of what I know about reality,
right,
and what I know about professional wrestling.
Yeah,
and then these guys come out. What is your mind doing? What is going on in your mind?
You've seen the creme de la creme of your Big Dave Duncans and your Plagues and your Wacky Waynes.
And now you have these juiced up monsters that look like professional wrestlers.
First, these two dudes come on, and I'm like, okay, just like what this has all been. And then these I'm like, whoa, all right.
Holy shit, it's picking up.
I wouldn't want to mess. I would literally not want to mess with these guys at all.
I've been pretty confident I could kick everybody's ass on this show so far.
No,
except for maybe Dave. But
and then these two dudes come in, and it's like, fuck, that's scary. why are they in BDSM attire? Like, what's that all about? I don't care. They can do it. They're big.
Do what they want.
Do what they want.
You're that big. You do what you fucking feel like.
And then eventually, as the show went on, I'm like, these two, because like I didn't realize the first people who came on who weren't the pit bulls were supposed to be the bad guys. I thought they were like the good guys, and they were gonna be like against like, oh, they'll be the underdogs. I'm like, no, like he's got this guy in a headlock, and I just couldn't suspend. I'm like, disbelief, like they're letting you do all of this to them. Maybe they're just into it. It's like the masochism thing, you know?
Getting paid to do it, bro.
That's what it felt like. It's like, yeah, because at any moment he could actually eat you.
Just snap you.
He's huge. And I'm like, this is father and son have to become pro wrestlers to save the rec center. That's what it looks like.
Guys, we gotta get the band back together so we can play the talent show and save the rec center. Like. This is like the basis of an 80s comedy.
Mexican Paul Blart and son.
Fuck Manny Fuck Manny Fernandez.
Well, that's the thing. Manny Fernandez has done a thing or two. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he probably trained Tommy Thunder. And Tommy Thunder has his own training school.
Which, you've seen Thunder this entire time, like, on this flyer.
Yes.
And so, like, me personally, like, I know a wrestler named Thunder. And he's an older dude, but he's fucking massive, like, big and strong. And so, like, I saw Thunder there, and I was just like, oh, like, I assume all Thunders are... With a name like that, it gives you a preconceived notion of what a body type would be of this person. So I figured it'd be like, the Pitbulls are huge, and Manny's a big guy. So I figured Thunder would have to be of equal body, body shape or whatever. And then this fuck walks out. Very Barry Horowitz, oh yay, hey. But he's a bad guy, and this whole show's about his wrestling school. Craziness. And then this is the guy that Thunder. This is what your Thunder is? I never knew he had a first name until just now.
It just didn't make... I get a story is supposed to be happening. I'm like, okay. I don't know why I thought the first two, not the Pitbulls, were the heroes. Like, it just seemed like that's how it was going to play out. It was like, they're going to get beat up because these guys are freaking huge, but somehow they're going to find a way and come out on top. It's going to be awesome. And then it's like, oh, wait, no, they're assholes. Well, I don't know. Why don't these guys just eat them? Like, they're huge, Like, they're massive and... All right, sorry.
And yeah, it's pretty confusing to me, and I love how at one point in time, like Manny was, like, not going to even wait for a tag to happen on the apron. Like, he just walked in and tagged himself in.
Yeah.
There's a couple moments of, like, screw it, let's just keep going. Like,
then something at the beginning happened that never paid off, like I kind of expected it to, or maybe it did, and I just... toned out.
The match fell apart.
Well, there was like right when they're coming out, they come out to Van Halen, Jump.
Yeah.
And like they make that deal like, oh, they're coming out to Eric Idle's music. I wonder what that's about. And then never again is it even like touched upon. Like they're not in cahoots with Eric Idle. And why is that even a thing to bring up?
Especially if, like, hey, he's in the back talking to somebody.
Yeah, he's still talking to that kid.
Commentary-wise, it would make sense if Eric Idle came out with them and was the manager.
Yeah, exactly.
And was trying to help them win.
Yeah.
And, the Pitbulls
especially since he's not cleared by the doctor to wrestle, you gotta have that moment. You set yourself up for that to be the moment.
Exactly. Be something. Nope. Didn't happen.
Nope.
Match fell apart. Fans threw stuff in the ring, which we don't rarely see anymore. At this time, we should see more of it.
To that today.
Yeah, for sure. Because they were nice enough to throw paper in the ring.
Yeah.
It wasn't like bottles or anything.
Yeah, it was like pee.
Yeah.
And then the dude comes back out, right? Wasn't like from a different match?
Yeah. Someone comes out, they jump Thunder.
Oh gosh, who was it? I had it in my notes somewhere.
Was it Corrupted Youth? No, I know
it was Ivan.
Somebody came out and made the save. Yes, it was Ivan.
It was Ivan.
He was Ivan.
Because I like that guy. He's like, that's like
yeah, and
like
Manny turned on like Tommy Thunder like really quick for like no reason. Which
yeah, they're like, all right, we gotta kill 10 minutes so we can beat the shit out of Thunder.
It's almost like, all right, we got the Pitbulls booked to draw some people. Now let's do an angle where Tommy and Manny turn on each other, and they'll be the main event next time.
Yeah.
But it was very convoluted and just
because we need people to join the school, and they don't want to do it with Tommy being a dick.
Yeah, so we need him to be a baby face. Like, let's rectify this situation.
Yeah, I got an idea. Give me the paper.
We're gonna get you over as a baby, son.
Thanks, Wacky Wayne. You're welcome, kid.
Woo!
Read between the lines.
I want to know if Wacky Wayne's still at it. I want to bring him in.
And I couldn't tell if he had a mustache or he was just like, I couldn't tell if it was like just barely
dirt.
there, or just I couldn't tell if it was dirty or had a mustache.
We're talking about Wacky Wayne?
Yeah, Wacky Wayne.
He looked like the huckster when WWE used to do the WCW joke skits.
He definitely looked like a huckster. Could have been a huckster.
Might have been the huckster.
Might have been the huckster.
That guy, he's a French fry short of a happy meal.
He sure is. Woo!
I got silly string. I'm so...
He did have silly string!
I'm so
Fuck, can we just go back and talk about Wacky Wayne again?
Well, there's not a whole lot else to talk about the rest of the show.
Yeah,
the referees. So let's go ahead and talk about the whole show. But obviously, Wacky Wayne is the thing that sticks out in our mind.
Yeah,
Wacky Wayne is the winner of this.
He just silly string in the audience, and the kids are like, yeah, he's so wacky.
I'd have been fucking hot. Like, goddamn, this shit stains. What are you doing? Been real mad. I would not have appreciated Wacky Wayne's wacky antics.
Wacky Wayne, you're too much. Just too
damn wacky, Wayne.
But yeah, this wrestling was pretty rough throughout, and then all of a sudden, there's the pit bulls.
Yeah.
And then it ends with them with a promo in the broom closet, with just toilet paper and cleaning supplies in the background, and then just random guy. Juan Russell with Aaron again, which leading with thing, I guess Russell's got some sort of violations against him as well.
He's got a guy.
Yeah, so it's just the theme of the entire show.
Like the whole time, the announcer going, now coming, and he's got notes that he is reading from. He has not remembered a single line.
Yeah.
He's just like someone just handed it to him.
And he can't read very well.
No. It's very unprofessional.
But,
for pro wrestling.
And anything else, like Brian, this being your first wrestling show, do you ever want to whet your appetite for professional wrestling ever again?
Well, I'll say one time I did see, they have midget wrestling, little people wrestling. Oh.
If you start this off with midget, and then you don't have to switch it to little people at that point. You've already said it.
You know, midget wrestling. The midgets that wrestle in the ring and the midget wrestling. Should I say little people? Well, I don't know.
It might have been
the whole thing,
said this dyke, and then been lesbians.
Female homosexuals. Well, it's just that's how it was pitched to me before the whole. You gotta call them little. Before that really became big.
These crackers. I mean, white folk.
Hey, it's Martin Luther King Day. I can say.
You can say what the fuck you feel like, brother.
I remember we were about to go. Our coach, he was retiring from coaching. I was like, I guess, but we didn't really like him that much. And someone calls me. He's like, hey man, want to go see midget wrestling? I was like, yes. What? That's a thing. I went to see it. It was great. Yeah, Stinky Pete, Skinny Pete. I don't know. He was the bad guy.
Skinny was the Pete brothers. Pete and Pete.
Yeah, Pete and Pete.
Hey,
Pete. But that was incredible, or maybe it was awful. I don't know. Because I haven't seen enough. But it was incredible.
But that's the thing. So you only know this is awful because I said it was awful. Mm-hmm. What if I gave you this show and I'm like, hey, here's a show I'm pretty proud of. I think you should see. Would you have known the difference?
I would have noticed some things.
That's a fair assessment.
Some things were off, like people going for a running double foot jump and completely missing, but the guy falling back anyway. I would have noticed that. Would have noticed the rape parking lot, thing, and just various stuff. No TNA, that was strange. Then I wouldn't have caught. There's things I just didn't catch. Wow, that was really dangerous. You almost broke the dude's spine. Over my head, I didn't know. I had no idea. Or you were talking about flips or where my body's gonna be when the flip. I have no idea what you're talking about there.
Just go do it and get caught, man. Get the fuck down.
Yeah, so I didn't anytime, the actual skill of wrestling, I have zero knowledge of that as a so I don't know when they're messing up other than when it's, obvious.
So you don't know that there's any difference between these guys and a Kevin Steen, a Chris Jericho.
I don't know who they are.
Even better. Rey Mysterio. Yeah. You have no idea these guys from the professionals that you may have seen on TV.
The boogeyman.
The thing is, someone told me when you're watching pro wrestling, real pro wrestling, there's you get involved, you get emotional. It's he's this and they've done that and they've this history, so now this means that to them, and he's trying to do this, but he's trying to counter it by doing this, and you're like, yeah, what's he gonna do now? You just get caught up in it. Mm-hmm. None of that happened here.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I believe that 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, none of it at all, except for a
little bit of storytelling goes a long way. Mm-hmm. So basically, compared to the wrestlers you have seen, how do these guys stack up against the Boogeyman?
Against the Boogeyman. It's the 7 seconds of the Boogeyman.
Well, no one ate worms.
Yeah.
No one ate worms. No one ate worms. The pit bull part where the guy's like on all fours going ah, which is still a little kinky because he's got the BDSM stuff on. That was similar. Mm-hmm. That was very similar to the point. I don't know. I don't know what to say here. I just don't know what to say.
It's your opinion. It's whatever. But does this show whet your appetite for professional wrestling?
No, it did not.
Okay. Good.
It certainly did.
All of that to say this, fuck no.
Zane, any other thoughts about the show that we have to get through or get past?
Someone find out if Wacky Wayne Woo's still alive or around or whatever. Mm-hmm. Awful show. Wacky Wayne's the best ever.
But we needed one of these shows.
Yeah, we totally did. This is what we needed.
Yeah.
And what also we needed was a show that was only an hour and a half long.
Yeah, like we've been...
Because these 3-hour
jeez,
shows of not suck have kind of... And then the 3-hour shows of suck have both been mind-numbing. Mm-hmm. So, a good hour and a half. Way to be a good indie show that has 9 matches that's an hour and a half long.
Okay. Well, with the question, would you guys recommend this show to anybody?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Definitely, of course. I dislike a lot of folk, and I would pass it. Hey, kid, you want to learn how to be a character? Watch Wacky Wayne.
What would be your intent for recommending it to people?
What not to do. A whole bunch of what not to do.
Okay.
And then what to do about being a character, like Wacky Wayne.
Wacky Wayne.
Like how to get over it in like no time and have 0 offense and just get your ass beat the whole time and then win.
Yeah.
So.
And didn't have your audience miss the ending.
Yeah.
Because it just kind of happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Brian, what would you be your intent for recommending?
I would show them all the promos.
Yep.
Every single one. Mostly that. Just all the promos. I think that would...
I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably rip a copy of the Wayne Woo promo and put up on my YouTube page because it is rather priceless.
It is a sight to be seen.
Yes, for sure. Anything else we got to discuss before we get out of here, gentlemen?
I think we dissected this pig.
Okay, well, please, Brian, plug, so all the feminists out there can get in touch with you and talk about how you feel about women.
Feminists, I love women, but just because they're not hot doesn't mean it's not TNA. And Twitter, the Penn Project on Twitter, the Penn Project on Instagram, the Penn Project on YouTube, and Charlotte Open Mics on YouTube. That's a thing. Check it out. It's awesome.
Okay, Zane, what dates have you got coming up? This is going to be coming up this Thursday.
This Thursday, so tomorrow night, on the day of our new Overlord, I'll be at PWF Hubert in Hubert, North Carolina. And then the next week we have live, How Did This Get Booked?
This is true. The Queen City Comedy Festival, queencitycomedy.com, Friday, January 27th, 8 p.m. Friday night, which will be tomorrow night, if you listen to this in timely fashion, I have the Roast of the 90s. I also have the All Organic Open Mic, February 4th at the Evening Muse, which is a Saturday. Tickets are only $3. eveningmuse.com. But for more information about how did this get booked or any corrections or any complaints you want me to forward over to Bryan Penn, please get up with me at Scout Manning or email me at jake@sslshow.com. Make sure you log on to howdidthisgetbooked.com, especially for How Did This Get Booked merchandise, especially t-shirts. Hey guys, make sure you subscribe on iTunes and Google Play, and please leave a review that helps us to get more eyeballs and earbuds on this project. Also, too, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page, youtube.com/ManScoutManning. Also, make sure you follow on SoundCloud.com at SoundCloud.com/ManScoutManning. This has been another edition of How Did This Get Booked?
Woo!
Hey, woo, Wacky Wayne.
Wacky Wayne.